Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be checking out the brand new Gate Guardians in action. This is the brand new Labyrinth deck over here, where we have a super boss fusion monster that brings out a mini boss monster when you kill that one, and then it brings out another monster. So they have a lot of reoccurrence with their archetype, because whenever the monster leaves the field, because of an opponent's card effect, you're just going to get a bonus card, unless it's banished face down, which is something that you'll see here very shortly. But anyways, playing against a sprite deck over here. Let's see how this plays out. So what does the Gate Guardian archetype do? Well, they are basically a fusion-based deck, but it's pretty easy to get the cards that you need, as you could just get rid of them easily to summon this card. So this card is their boss monster. It's called the Gate Guardians Combined. It requires Sangan of Thunder, Gaudian, and Suijin, which is all three of them, and you just banish them to actually summon this card. So you banish them from your hand, field, and or graveyard. So it's like the easiest summon condition required. Anyways, its effect is when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a card or cards you control. As a quick effect, you get to negate that effect and destroy that card. Now, that effect can be used 3 times, but it's only an anti-target archetype. But when this leaves the field, you get to bring out another boss monster. So we have the one that requires 3 of them, but there's also ones that require 2 of them. So this card will bring out one of the other ones that is level 11 or lower from your deck or extra deck. Now, each one of these also brings out another smaller monster. Basically, this one requires all 3. The other ones require 2, but then from the 2, you get to bring out one that requires either Sangan of Thunder, Gaudian, or Suijin. So that's basically the gist of the deck. So we're going to see him attack over the Masquerena. Remember, nothing can target anything. That's basically what the deck does. So if there is an archetype that has non-targeting, destruction, and or removal, technically you may be able to still get something out depending on the conditions here. So again, now there's another card that you have to be aware, because his opponent didn't really, I guess, understand this concept. So monsters can't attack during the turn they are summoned, except for monsters whose original level is 5 or higher. So it's anti-exceed and anti-link. But once during your main phase, you get to place one of your Sangan of Thunder, Gaudian, or Suijin that is banished or in your hand or deck face up in your spell and trap zone. So you get to place them all in your back row, kind of like Crystal Beast, right? And then on top of that, the other bonus effect, this is the part that a lot of people don't read. At the start of your opponent's battle phase, you get to target one monster opponent controls with less than 1600 attack and destroy it. So basically, it makes it so the smaller monsters can theoretically attack, because remember, monsters can't attack during the turn that they're summoned. But if they leave them there, they're just going to get popped anyways. Now he activates Droplet, but there's another bonus card that I have to mention over here that searches out other cards, so we're going to see it in action right here. This is the Shadow Ghoul of the Labyrinth. So what this card does is you discard it to add a Labyrinth wall, which is usually the Shadow card, because it lets you place them like Crystal Beast. Then on top of that, it has a bonus effect where at the start of the damage step, if your opponent's monster battles while you control a Labyrinth wall card, which you search out for instantly, you banish it from your graveyard and destroy that opponent's monster. You can only use each effect of it once per turn. So this is how this card works. The first replay, I'll kind of explain things because the archetype is relatively simple. It's a very basic deck, and then I'll kind of let most of the other replays play out unless there's something to mention. But I want to give you guys a introduction and kind of a how to play the deck, the ins and outs. So he makes an Access Code Target, which is a pretty good card. Remember, when that one goes away, it brings out another one. Now, there are ones that, like this one is Water, Thunder, then there's Wind and Water, and then there's Wind and Thunder. There's 3 different other cards that require 2 of each. So all of them have the effect where they'll bring out a smaller one, for the fusions, that is. This one has the effect where it must be special from the extract by banishing the above cards you control. Again, remember, all of them have that same summoning condition. Then, once per train, as a quick effect, you can target one face of monster opponent controls, and you can make its attack 0 until the end of the turn. So this one makes something to 0, and then the Wind and Water over here has the effect of when your opponent activates a spell, trap, or effect on the field as a quick effect, you get to negate that effect. It doesn't destroy it. I think that the Wind and Water is actually one of the better ones. So if you can get Wind and Water plus the boss, I think those are the 2 go-to. There's actually another one over here, which we will go over. This is the Thunder and Wind. So Thunder and Wind has the effect where during your main phase, you get to add 1 spell or trap from your deck to your hand that mentions part of the archetype, the Sangan of Thunder, Gaudian, and Suijin. And then again, it has the same effect if it leaves the field. But I actually think Wind and Water is one of the better ones, because that effect you can use twice per turn. So now he destroys that monster. It's going to bring out this monster. He destroys the Labyrinth Wall Shadow because the boss monster was gone, so he can actually get rid of that as well. Depending on the matchup, obviously Azneyes Kotaker has an awesome ability where he's able to get rid of stuff. Now he uses Monster Reborn, goes for Masquerade, and he just uses his monster as material, so he just goes for this, which is a pretty nasty play. Brings out the Gate Guardians combined and go ahead and swings it for game. So player over here played the deck relatively well. Now, I do want to show off some more gameplays for the deck. We'll show it take some L's. We'll show, obviously, we just saw it take a dub over here. This is actually kind of a newer archetype than Numeralias, but it's mixed in with a lot of things that I didn't actually expect, which is a pretty cool duel over here between Yugioh and Bias. So we'll watch it from the perspective of the player that's playing the new Gate Guardian build, because that's the point of this video, is to kind of go over how the deck plays, its strengths, and its weaknesses. So the strengths are, I mean, it's pretty easy to get out their boss monster, but at the end of the day, is the boss monster really that good? So again, you add Shadow, we activate that, we're going to go place one of them like a Crystal Beast, and then we just go for the boss monster. Easy boss monster to bring out. If the archetype does not target or has non-targeting removal and or destruction, the deck folds real fast, you'll see. Surprisingly enough, which you guys will see in another matchup, the deck could actually take a huge L to anything that makes it so that, like, the monster can't be either destroyed by battle. There is technically a few cards that you can just, like, pop one card up on the board, but that's if your opponent does go to their battle phase, and then you can pop it with the Wall Shadow. But that's another way that you can play. But we see Prisma. Prisma is actually a card that lets you just dump one. So, again, remember the whole archetype. That's what you want to do. And again, Wind and Water is a good one when they activate a spell, trap, or effect on the field. And we have the boss monster. Is he going to be able to take the dub over here? So now we'll see the Mayo Senju come out, and he loses out on one of his monsters. But remember, he can bring back another. Then we have Summon Limit activated. So now he's going to go Foolish. The Gizmek Orochi, he's playing some sort of Banish deck, and it's going to be pretty nasty real fast with this other card. I was super surprised by that effect because it gets around this mechanic. Okay, so anyways, next up we're going to be seeing Thunder and Wind come out. That one searches out another card. So this is another card that's very important for the archetype. It's a quick play spell that says you control a Gate Guardian monster, target one card on the field, destroy it, and then during your main phase you can banish it to add one of your banished Sangan, Keijin, or Suijin that is banished, or in your deck to your hand. So this one, deck them. So you definitely want to deck them versus the banished ones, because the banished ones, there's other cards that can place them there, but you want to deck them. Drawing these is like kind of a -1, honestly, in a lot of scenarios. So yeah, you want to deck them, get those out of the deck, or you can even throw in like Burial from a different dimension. I've seen some people think about that, because that literally becomes a one card. You remake the boss monster, Gate Guardian combined. So he's going to go ahead and go for Sweet Dreams. So this is the card that's really OP. Like, this card, absolutely insane. Just bounces back everything. Dreaming Numeralia. This card has a monster effect where you get to banish one card your opponent controls and or in the graveyard for every 3 of your face-down banished cards. Since there's a lot of ways to banish cards face-down with this Numeralia archetype, is pretty good, because you get to banish a card from your extra face-down every single turn with Aureola over here. So that's going to basically rip everything. That card just gets around all the mechanics. Remember how, like, if the card leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, unfortunately, because it's going to be placed face down, it just obliterates the deck. It's like the worst matchup. This thing gives it a GG instantly. It's a little bit rough, but hold on, don't sign our boy out yet. He has the ability over here. As long as you control a Wall Labyrinth card, you get to banish it and just destroy the opponent's monster, saving him. So you got to pay attention to this card. This card, it can clutch up. All right, but now he's got the turtle. The turtle says, sorry, man, you ain't playing nothing. Because, surprise, the whole archetype needs monsters that have 1800 or 100 or more attack, with the exception of, like, Prisma. That's, like, the one card that, like, would get around this. But he's got this card, too, and he just loses out everything. It's just a GG from here. Yeah, this card, it's just really nasty. And, like, the fact that you just, like, throw it out there real easy, can automatically make game. I have some more gameplay, which we will talk about more later, but I want to make this video too long. This is kind of the introduction to how to play the deck, its strengths, and its weakness. Now, one card that we didn't get to talk about actually is this card, which is Prey of the Jirai Gumo. So what does this card do? So you special summon it as a normal Insect Earth level 5, 2100 attack, 100 defense to your main monster zone in its same column. It's also still a trap card. Then you can destroy one monster your opponent controls in this card's column, and then you can also banish this card from your graveyard to add one of your Sanguine Thunder, Keijin, or Suijins that's banished or in your deck to hand. So this one searches out a card, plus it lets you destroy, and it has like okay stats. It's a really like weird card. It's just part of like the archetype, as like they got like some they're considered zombies. I thought this was an insect. Anyways, at the end of the day, that's part of the archetype. And is it actually good as far as, in my opinion? I think it's more of a fun deck than everything. This is another card called the Labyrinth Heavy Tank, which I'll probably show some more gameplay of it. But all it does is you normal summon it without tributing, and it's basically Sapphire Pegasus. So you summon it, and then you place one from your deck, but it can't attack during the turn it's normal summon. So you can run this or Prisma. It's kind of up to you. They basically kind of do the same thing, but there is a bonus over here. So you get to, as soon as you summon, because you can normal summon without tributing, and you can instantly just place one of these in your back row. And then on top of that, if you control a Labyrinth wall card, you can destroy one monster your opponent controls. So it has a little bit more play than Prisma. Prisma, in theory, could be faster because it just dumps the card to the grave if you really need it in the grave, versus putting it in your back row. It's almost the same because it's hand, deck, or graveyard, but you know, some people like other things. Again, here's the Prisma build where you can play Prisma. Again, this card, I didn't get to talk about it during the gameplay because I haven't another replay, but I don't want to make the video too long. I have a few different builds here. I'll mouse over the cards relatively quick. This was another newer card that did come out. A lot of people are skipping out on it, but if your life points are lower than your opponent, you get to target a monster you control with Gate Guardian in its original name. You half your opponent's life points, then that monster gains attack equal to the opponent's life points. So in theory, you can one-shot your opponent, but honestly, like, this card, it's got great stats anyways. It's 3750. It's running over most things in the game, but then on top of that, it has the ability where you banish it, and then you get to add one of them. So it's just, there's just a lot of adding from your deck to hand. So you can like go droplets, and then you just get rid of all of like the brick cards in your hand, and then instantly just fusion out of the grave, burrow from a different dimension, go for another one. That's another option as well. This deck was actually really cool. I want to almost feature that deck. But yeah, I'll mouse over the cards real quick just in case any of you guys want to build the decks, but I'll also include it in the Discord for the one-click download. But let me know, guys, what you think of the new Gate Guardians. Is it a dub? I definitely think it's an okay archetype. It's kind of more for fun than like S-tier competitive. But against certain matchups, if the whole archetype like targets only, then this deck just automatically wins. But if they get around the targeting, the deck just takes a huge L. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed the gameplay, drop a like on it. If you're new here and you do want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh videos in the future, hit subscribe to the bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and I'm out. Peace.